Welcome to the September 4th, 2025 regular city council meeting. And tonight we have Councilwoman Lewis doing the invocation.
Bow your heads, please. Dear Heavenly Father, I just thank you for this opportunity, Lord, to come to you and ask that those of us that sit on this board, that we look at our city as a whole, Lord, and that you give us wisdom that we need and guidance in our decisions and in the thoughts that we have regarding making this city a better place to live. I thank you for the opportunities that you give us, Lord. I ask a blessing upon each person that made it here tonight. I ask that you let the words come out in a manner in which is able to be understood. And I just ask for your guidance and always for every step that we make. In Jesus' holy name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Cindy, will you please do the roll call?
Councilmember Lampe.
Present.
Councilmember Osborne.
Present.
Councilmember Gordon.
Present.
Councilmember Brockert.
Present.
Councilmember Gendrich.
Present.
Councilmember Lewis.
Present.
Councilmember Conard.
Present.
7 present, 0 absent.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So we have a proclamation this week. Welcome back, Ryan. So this week is for October 5th through the 11th of 2025 is Public Power Week resolution. So whereas we, the citizens of Muscatine, as consumers and owners of our electric utility, place high value on a community-owned, not-for-profit utility, and as both customers and owners of the utility have chosen local control over operations and policies through their city-appointed board of trustees. And whereas the Muscatine Power and Water electric utility is a community asset that contributes to the well-being of the local citizens through things such as energy efficiency, customer service, environmental protection, and economic development. And whereas MPW employees are neighbors, serving neighbors, providing homes, businesses, schools, and local government agencies for not-for-profit electric services, while considering these 4 important factors: reliability, affordability, flexibility, and sustainability, making our community the best place to live, stay, work, and play. And whereas Muscatine Power and Water is a dependable and trustworthy institution whose local operation provides many consumer protections, provides prompt service during emergencies, and contributes to protecting the environment. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor of the city and city council designate the week of October 5th through October 11th of 2025 as Public Power Week in Muscatine, Iowa. And tonight we have Mr. Ryan Streck accepting the proclamation. I'm going to make the long walk over here to you now.
Not me, Ryan. Sure. Thank you again. MPW is one of approximately 2,000 public utilities across the nation that collectively serve over 50 million Americans. These utilities are governed locally, meaning decisions are made by people who live and understand the communities that we live in. Public Power Week is an annual national celebration recognizing the economic, social, and environmental contributions of these hometown electric utilities like Muscatine Power and Water. As a not-for-profit utility owned and operated by the community, MPW is proud of the service we provide to our customers, and we could not do it without our talented and dedicated staff who I want to give thanks to tonight. MPW has a track record of high reliability, low rates, and public service. Thank you, Mayor Bark and Council, for recognizing the benefits of public power and the value MPW brings to the community.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right, next is the approval to adopt the agenda. Does the council or administration have any items that you'd like to change or pull from the agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So move, Gordon.
We have a motion by Councilmember Gordon
Second, Conard.
and a second by Conard. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next item is communications. Is there anyone present that would like to address an issue that is not on tonight's agenda? All right, we are going to move to the consent agenda. The following items are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Is there a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda, which includes item 10A, items 11A through D, and E, 1 through 9, items 12A through C, items 13A through F, and item 14A with bills totaling $3,264,240.
So move, Lewis.
We have a motion by Councilmember Lewis
Second, Gordon.
and a second by Gordon. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries with all ayes. All right, next is two public hearings. A public hearing to consider the vacation, surplus, and deeding over of the undeveloped right-of-way of Clymer Street. Now is the time for the public to comment. Hearing none, I will now take a motion to close public hearing.
So move, Lewis.
We have a motion by Councilmember Lewis
Second, Osborne.
and a second by Osborne. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries with all ayes. Next item is 15B, is a public hearing to consider the vacation, surplus, and deeding of undeveloped right-of-way of Smalley Street. Now is the time for the public to comment. Hearing none, I will take a motion to close public hearing.
So move, Gordon.
We have a motion by Councilmember Gordon
So, second.
and a second by Osborne. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries with all ayes. Next item is 17A, is the first reading of an ordinance to vacate and deed the undeveloped right-of-way adjoining 716 and 720 Clymer Street, which are lots 26 and 27 of Sunset Edition. Public hearing A. Is there a motion to approve the first reading of this ordinance as submitted?
So move, Lewis.
We have a motion by Councilmember Lewis
Second, Osborne.
and a second by Osborne. Is there any discussion with council? Hearing none. Councilmember Gendrich, how do you vote?
Aye.
Brockert.
Aye.
Conard.
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Osborne.
Aye.
And Lampy.
Aye.
First reading of ordinance approved as submitted with all ayes. Next item is 17B, is a first reading of an ordinance to vacate and deed the undeveloped right-of-way adjoining the property located at 1315 Smalley. This is public hearing B. Is there a motion to approve this first reading of this ordinance as submitted?
So moved.
We have a motion by Councilmember Osborne
Second.
and a second by Gordon. Is there any discussion with council? Hearing none. Councilmember Lampy, how do you vote?
Aye.
Osborne.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Conard.
Aye.
Brockert.
Aye.
And Gendrich.
Aye.
First reading of ordinance approved as submitted with all ayes. Next item is C, is a resolution authorizing special assessments for unpaid abatement service fees to private properties. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution as submitted?
So moved.
We have a motion by Councilmember Gendrich
Second,
and a
Conard.
second by Conard. Is there any discussion with the public or council? Hear none. Councilmember Gendrich, how do you vote?
Aye.
Brockert.
Aye.
Conard.
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Osborne.
Aye.
And Lampy.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted with all ayes. Next item is 17D, is a resolution adopting revisions to the rules of the city council for the city of Muscatine. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution as submitted?
So move, Lewis.
We have a motion by Councilmember Lewis
Second, Osborne.
and a second by Osborne. Is there any discussion with the public or council?
Well, I have comments, but I see Miss Gordon has her hand up.
Well, it probably might be one of the same that you have, John, can we describe what is being changed in the rules so that the public is aware?
Yeah, City Clerk, would you be able to do that?
The changes being proposed are the council meetings will be moved from Thursday nights to Tuesday nights. They will go from 6 o'clock, and now they will start at 5:30. And the other addition was to add the verbiage on the closed sessions as needed. So we will not always have a closed session meeting. They will only be scheduled as needed.
In depth.
In-depth.
In-depth, sorry. The in-depth meetings, yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
John.
Councilmember Gendrich and then Councilmember Osborne.
I'm opposed to this. I think it's a bad idea. This change in city ordinance was presented to me on several occasions as an effort to give our city staff more availability to a 3-day weekend. I guess the idea is that if we have a council meeting on Thursday night, it's not very easy for a particular council or city employee that may have to present at a council meeting. They don't get to leave town quite as early. And, you know, I think that's just a bogus excuse because there's every department in Muscatine, city government, that has people that can report for people, cover for people. And if that city employee needs to have Thursday evening to take off so that they can get on their 3-day weekend, then fine with me. But there are plenty of people that can report to our city council. I visited with 3 former city officials. And I said, you know, we were talking, and he said, you know, how's council going? And I said, well, you know, some frustrating things going on. And, well, you know what? And I said, well, they want to change the council meetings from Thursday night to Tuesday night. And, of course, they said, what's the reason? Well, it's so city staff can have easier access to a 3-day weekend. They chuckled, laughed, and said that makes no sense. I checked out of the store the other night, waited on by 2 clerks, familiar with. Oftentimes, you know, we visit, you know, and so forth. And they say, you know, how's the council going? I say, well, you know, there's always a few controversial things going on. And, of course, they, you know, they got a probe, you know, and I'm happy to converse with them. Good people. Anyway, you know, they say, what's the reason for changing the council meetings from Thursday to Tuesday? I said, well, our city staff needs to have easier access to a 3-day weekend. And in unison, they both broke out, you got to be kidding me. And I said, yeah. We've been meeting as a city council on Thursday evenings for over 40 years. To have an agenda by 5 o'clock on Thursday, that means Friday, the end of the week. I've had a long, you know, full week of activities, and now here's Friday, I've got an agenda. How many of you people want to go through your agenda on Friday? And if you don't want to do it on Friday, you can do it on Saturday and Sunday. Have a great weekend. I'm not going through the agenda on Saturday and Sunday. Okay? Bad idea. Saturdays and Sundays, there are no staff available. Answer any of my questions. They're on their weekend. But I get hit with an agenda on Thursday night, and I go through the agendas and I try to do a pretty decent job of going through the items and so forth. And now, there's that agenda for me to think about on Saturday and Sunday, and I'm not going to do it. My idea of a work week is to go to work on Monday morning and work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Get prepared for our council meeting on Thursday night, have a good week, try to make the best decisions that we can, but I have no intentions of approving some kind of an ordinance that says our city staff needs to have more available, easier access to a 3-day weekend. And then for me to open up the council agenda on Friday. That leaves me with Monday to prepare and scramble around on Tuesday. Doesn't make much sense. In fact, it makes I just said doesn't make much sense. It makes very little sense. So to change our council meetings from Thursday to Tuesday makes no sense. I have no intentions of voting for it. Bad idea. Bad idea. There you go, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Osborne, then I'll speak.
I'm fairly neutral to it from the beginning when I first heard it, like last week. I did not have as long time to think about it as John, and I haven't had a lot of time to vet it with the public and see what they think. However, at this point in time, I think the pros also should be shared that I'm aware of so far, and maybe there's others that will share too. I think John did a good job talking about possible cons. For me, I work during the week, and like many, I've got a couple of side hustles too to pay the bills. I'm not retired. I don't have the middle of the week to go through city council. When I do, it's rushed. And having it on Thursday, I will read it on the weekends because city council is a priority that I set up, that I agreed to do, and people voted me to do it. And that's a better time for me as well, rather than during the week when I'm trying to make a living. It does give me just Monday to get any kind of or Friday or Monday to get communications out, ask questions, and all those other things, and so I think that's sufficient. Like John, I often read it right before council because there are some changes that come at the end. Cinda does a wonderful job of getting us a preview Thursday, Friday the week before. There's usually some things that are being touched up by Monday, Tuesday, but for me, my work week, I hit the ground running on Monday, and if I don't catch it Monday morning and see the final product, which I often cannot see it by then, my next chance is I'll get a second. Sometimes I only get a second chance to look at it Thursday right before council. So from that standpoint, there is advantages to having it on Tuesday, and that I think we'll have many of us that are fairly busy during the week will have time on the weekends to go through it, and we'll make it a priority.
Could I ask a question, Mayor?
Just a sec. Councilmember Gordon, do you have something you want to say first?
Yeah, just sort of on the pro side, because at first, it was interesting concept. It's interesting that we're maybe the only or one of the few cities in the state that have Thursday night meetings. But I saw it as a positive because there's many things that we have to miss by having a Thursday night meeting. It has nothing to do with staff. That's a benefit. But that, to me, isn't the only thing. I, like most of the council, over half of us work, full-time or part-time. So whatever night it is, it's going to be. But there's many things that happen at the Arts Center, at things like that we can't attend because our priority is to be here. Like their 60th anniversary. I see that as a benefit. Now on Thursday nights I'm going to be able to participate a little more there or at other events. Tuesday night seems to be a little quieter. So I saw that as a positive. The 5:30 start, okay, we'll give it a shot. I'm more of a 6 o'clock start, but that's fine. We'll make adjustments if necessary. So I'm in favor of it because I see it as a positive that I can now go to other city functions that I think are very critical too. So.
Councilmember Gendrich?
Well, I just wanted to ask Jeff, and maybe I heard you wrong.
Could you speak into that mic, please?
I wanted to ask Jeff if, were you saying that I read the agenda before the meetings? That's
You
only
had
time-
said that
that's-
sometimes you get hit with the agenda on Thursday and you read it. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I didn't say that,
Okay, maybe I heard you wrong.
no.
I also heard you say, and I did say that you read it ahead of time as well, if that's what you're concerned about.
I try to get through the agenda as soon as it gets out
Yeah.
and start with city council.
Typically, it
business.
comes out in full, because we have to have it
Yeah,
published.
the city
And-
council agenda oftentimes has things added to it late. Okay, and if the city council agenda is due on Thursday at 5 o'clock, it's gonna have things added to it late.
Yeah,
on Friday.
now we're codifying it that it's actually coming out on Thursday, 4 days in advance
Well, You know,
of the agenda, and I think there's an advantage
good
in that.
luck.
I mean, it'll be written in code that it comes out 4 days in advance of the agenda, so we'll have more time. And I think making it a priority is
We won't
what
have
we,
more
what we
time.
agreed to do.
You'd have your weekend while the city staff has their weekend.
I don't get weekends, John. I just don't. I'm that,
I can't help that.
I know, but
So we're gonna move on real quick. I just have one thing to say. So 41, so I did a poll. Out of the 943 municipalities, I could find 107 of them and did some stats. 41% of the council meetings are on Monday. 35% are on Tuesday. 13% are on Wednesday. And 11% are on Thursday. Out of our benchmark cities, we're the only one that's on Thursday. Nobody has it on Wednesday, but basically Monday and Tuesdays. So you look at that and you add those up, you're over 70% of the municipalities that I talked about are on Mondays and Tuesdays. Number two, retention. Yes, I think there's a benefit for staff here. Staff works their butt off, and I think this is a great thing for staff. So is this for staff? Yeah, I think there's a benefit there. I know you're giving me a weird look, John. I'll get to that in just a sec, too. Family is also number one. I've got little kiddos, and I think it's also good to start at 5:30, and Tuesdays also work good for me as well. Number three, you mentioned past city council, and I'm sorry that you're talking to them, and it's a negative aspect of it. I think we all own this as a team, whether if people are for it or against it, we are a team, number one. So just please remember that. And also, I just see a lot of benefits in regard to working on Tuesdays, because then we have the whole rest of the week. And also, you mentioned that we run out of time for looking at agendas. Matter of fact, doing this, we actually get 2 extra days, Saturday and Sunday, to look at the agenda. So we gain 2 days. If you so choose, you still have the same amount of days to look at it, but we actually gain 2 days. Councilmember Osborne, you said it perfect, on the weekends. That's when I'll look at it too. So we actually gain 2 extra days. Any other question, comments?
I just appreciate it being on Tuesday also, our school boards are held on Monday, and several council members attend those also, so
Yep.
I think it's important to keep it on Tuesday that we have, and I'm fine with the 5:30, and appreciate staff's consideration on that too.
And just to add to your stats there, Mayor.
Yep.
We've been meeting on Thursdays for over 40 years, successfully. People have been attending events, and in spite of that. So, I'm going to miss the varsity boys and girls basketball games on Tuesday night.
Councilmember Brockert?
The high school plans a lot of their activities on Thursday nights. The only one of my granddaughter's orchestra concerts that I was able to attend was one where I skipped a council meeting. So I want to make her a priority since she's my youngest grandchild, and she's only got 3 more years left in school, and I would like to be able to attend orchestra concerts without being guilty of skipping council.
Yes.
I just wanted to point out that most of us go to conferences as well, and the conferences are almost always Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so this would avoid myself, Matt, and department heads from having to miss council meetings due to conferences and training.
Perfect. Any other comments, council? All right. Hearing none. Councilmember Gendrich, how do you vote?
Quadruple nay.
Brockert?
Aye.
Connard?
Aye.
Lewis?
Aye.
Gordon?
Aye.
Osborne?
Aye.
And Lampy.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted with 6 ayes and 1 nay. Next item is E is a resolution approving the extension of an industrial contract with Grain Processing Corporation for the Muscatine Transfer Station landfill. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution as submitted?
So moved.
We have a motion by Councilmember Brockert
Second, Lewis.
and a second by Lewis. Is there any discussion with the public or council? Hearing none. Councilmember Lampy, how do you vote?
Aye.
Osborne.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Connard.
Abstain.
Brockert.
Aye.
And Gendrich.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted with 6 ayes and 1 abstain. Hopefully I said that okay. Okay, perfect.
that okay, too?
All right, next item is F is a request to approve the issuance of a purchase order to Ed Morris Automotive Group of Muscatine in the amount of $71,712 for a 1-ton truck for Kent Stein Park and Muscatine Soccer Complex. Is there a motion to approve this request as submitted?
So move, Lewis.
We have a motion by Councilmember Lewis
Second.
and a second by Brockert. Is there any discussion with council?
I'd like to say something, Mayor. I just think it's great that we could actually use somebody or a car dealership here in town, so some of that money stays here in town in Muscatine, and we are supporting our hometown. So, good job.
Any other comments, council? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Request is approved with all ayes. Next item is G is request to approve entering into an agreement with the Iowa DOT accept the fiscal year 2026 Transit Joint Participation Agreement to implement a Federal Transit Administration Operating Assistance contract in the amount of $500,543 to be used for the transit operating expenses. Is there a motion to approve this request as submitted?
So moved, Gordon.
We have a motion by Councilmember Gordon
Second it.
and a second by Osborne. Is there any discussion? Yes, Councilmember Gordon.
I just want to share this with Brian. Would you please thank Amy for staying on top of this? I mean, to get a $500,000 grant towards the operations of a critical service in town. I mean, you see our buses all over the place, and you're continuing getting new buses with grants. We use the bus down at the cruise ships now. It's a great service, and please let Amy know she does a wonderful job. So, thank you, Brian.
Any other comments, council? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Request is approved with all ayes. Next item is H. Request to adopt policies required to access awarded community development block grant funds. Is there a motion to approve this request as submitted?
So move, Lewis.
We have a motion by Councilmember Lewis
Second.
and a second by Brockert. Is there any discussion with the council? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Request is approved with all ayes. Next item is I is request to approve proposed 2025 ambulance fee schedule. Is there a motion to approve this request as submitted?
So move, Lewis.
We have a motion by Councilmember Lewis
Second.
and a second by Brockert. Is there any discussion with council? Councilmember Gordon, then Osborne.
Well, Fire Chief Harmon, can you come up and just explain? And I appreciate the feedback you gave me with my questions on some of the rate increases, but can you explain how long it's been? And
Absolutely,
Thank you, Mike.
absolutely. So historically, what we've done is every year we kind of take a look at our ambulance fee schedule, and historically, we've tied it to the rate that Blue Cross Blue Shield would pay. They made it a business decision. That has not changed since 2020. So with that, we're charging the same rates we did 5 years ago. We took a look at it, we reviewed the situation, and I took a look at it more as what's the market rate. Reached out to our billing company and had some recommendations from them, and they kind of gave a lower range and an upper range, and what you have in front of you is the lower end. That's the bottom that they suggested. It is a big jump. It is. But $1 in 2020 is worth, if I remember correctly, about $1.25 today. So that's about a 25% increase just due to inflation. But again, we tied it to the market rates. Every year we have a survey that goes out to ambulance services throughout the state. And with that, we tally and massage the numbers, all that kind of stuff, look at averages, medians, and all that. And what you have in front of you is almost right on the button, the average of all the ambulance services throughout the state. So yes, it is a big jump, but it has been 5 years, and for us to meet the average market rate, that's why that was proposed.
Thank you, Mike.
Councilmember Osborne?
Being it's based on market rate
Yes.
and not cost basis, neutral, cost basis, I know I'm gonna ask, where might the extra money go to? And I think I know in the budget, but, the ambulance service monies do go to,
Yes, so the money that we bring in from the ambulance, it's an enterprise fund. And with that, the money that comes in is paid to provide that service. One of the biggest elements we have, one of the big costs we have with the ambulance is staffing. So it really, additional funds that come in basically will be utilized directly for staffing.
and year on year, has there been a surplus? And if there is, where does that money go?
I don't recall ever really having, there have been small amounts of surplus, and I want to say over the years, maybe $30,000 or $50,000, and that just rolls over from one fiscal year to another with the enterprise fund.
It helps cover.
One of the challenges we have is we do have additional expenses that they're not necessarily reflected in that budget each and every time. An example is, a new ambulance. If we bond for the ambulance, that's not in the ambulance budget, but there is a cost related to providing the ambulance that we undertake. So there's that element as well.
Okay, and do you have an estimate on how much more incremental add to income?
Yeah, from the billing company, when we're first looking at it conservatively, looking at probably $75,000.
Okay,
Yep. With that, yeah, I'm going to estimate income low.
yeah,
But that was their original thought.
yeah. It's a sum of money, but it's not like we're making bank on this, right?
Right.
Is the
Right.
point, right?
And honestly, I could not stand up here and suggest anything that I thought was unreasonable.
All right,
But yeah, I think it's best to tie it to market rate. Take a look at that fee survey of everybody around us and utilize that as we make decisions moving forward. That being said, that is something we need to do every year. Again, we've tied it to Blue Cross Blue Shield in the past. Moving forward, we'll go ahead and take a look at all the factors, not just Blue Cross and Blue Shield. One other element I do want to toss out there is we have with our payer mix, we have quite a few people that are on Medicaid, Medicare. This does not charge them more. So Medicaid and Medicare, they pay whatever rate they want. They help us on the back end with that GEMT funds that you may be familiar with. But by us charging 30% more, 20% more, whatever it is, we're not going after those people on Medicaid and Medicare and saying, hey, you have to pay us. By law, what we get from Medicaid and Medicare is what we get, and we cannot balance bill. So we will not be balance billing anybody that's in that situation.
okay. One last question, if I could. I've emphasized a potential windfall, right? The $35,000 may be projected, but however, if we choose market rate, that can also be a double-edged sword. You don't want to outpace the market, otherwise you're not going to be used that much,
Right.
and that's a death spiral.
Right.
And so if market rate doesn't cover expenses, then this is a way to also keep our expenses in line with others as well, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yep,
Yeah,
so-
and that's an excellent point. We'll need to look at everything in totality every year, but my base on it is instead of tying it to one payor, tie it to market rate and then see from there if we need to make adjustments.
Yeah, thank
Good
you. I
point.
didn't want to leave the impression that this is an automatic windfall.
Right,
It's
no.
like anything. If
No.
we're not if market rate doesn't cover expenses, that means we have to, if we're gonna keep using market rate, that also means we need to be competitive and keep our costs low.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yep.
Any other questions, council? Thank you.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Request is approved with all ayes. Next two items are discussion items. The first one is J, discussion on recommendation from the Traffic Committee to propose single-sided parking on the northeast side of Bond Street. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Kevin Kuhn, City Engineer. What we're here for tonight on Bond Street is to really gauge you guys' thoughts on how you feel about the going to one-sided parking from Evans Street down to the Taylor Park area. This was brought to our attention via complaint. The complaint was that the road is 27 feet wide. Trucks and other vehicles tend to park side by side across the street from each other, and it makes it difficult for emergency management and other larger vehicles to get through. Staff looked at this request. We didn't find any issues with going to one-sided in this area. There's not a huge density of homes in the area, so going to one-sided doesn't have a huge impact on parking, or shouldn't. We haven't surveyed the residents yet for this. If council wants us to bring this forward, we will survey the residents prior to bringing it forward, though. Any thoughts from you guys on this?
Council? Councilmember Osborne? And then
How did you choose which side?
The south side tends to have more homes and more homes that don't have garages.
Reasonable.
Councilmember Brocker, and then Councilmember Conard.
I'll admit I brought the complaint forward from a citizen who lives in the area. He has one of these big Chevy trucks with the mirrors that stick out here, and he has to pull those in sometimes just to be able to get through on that particular block. That also presents a problem in the winter with snow plowing, and as well as emergency vehicles, particularly fire trucks, getting through to get to a destination. So when originally we thought the 3 extra spots, or however many there are at Taylor Park, would help alleviate the situation, but it hasn't. So that's why I brought it forth to Traffic Committee.
Councilmember Conard?
We have a lot of 27-foot wide streets in Muscatine, correct?
We do.
And we have parking on both sides of them.
It varies.
We're going to recommend we go to one street parking on all 27-foot roads in Muscatine.
No,
And I
not
know-
unless
I
we
mean,
have the
it's-
request.
Yeah, right. I just, and we also utilize that double parking on a 27-foot road to slow traffic down, right? You got to go in and out and weave, and it slows everything down. So I would really like to know if the residents along this route want to have that. I would like them surveyed, and if they were to come back with a majority saying yes, then I'm better off on that. But at this point, like, too many of our streets are 27-foot wide with double parking, and we say this to slow traffic down, so I would like to keep it that way.
Is it just for this short aspect?
Just for
So
that
you're
short block.
looking at how many residents? Not,
Yeah, it's just a handful.
Just a few houses.
okay.
And granted, not all of them have driveways or
Right,
garages.
Yep.
Councilmember Lewis and Councilmember Gordon.
So my question is then, looking at this, it's like, sorry. You've got Pete's Tap, and of course, the park sitting there. Why is there so much traffic parked on on the sides of the roads? If they have, driveways to park, it's like, is it people that are visiting the park that's causing the backup, or the too many people? I mean, that's my question, is what's causing the congestion on both sides? is it, like, I think Councilmember Conard makes a good point. I think we definitely need to talk to the residents and see what's going on there. I mean, are they finding that people are coming into their neighborhood, parking there so they can go to the park? Or are they parking there because Pete's are having an event? You think,
No,
or
this
is it
is mostly
every day?
residents. This is mostly residents. But, you know, if you don't have a driveway, you've got probably more than one vehicle, sometimes 2 and 3.
I think I'd want to see what the pulse is of the residents
Yeah.
before making a decision.
Councilmember Gordon.
I agree with that. I mean, my concern was it's residential, it's commercial, and then we do have the park. And the park does have the handicap parking on this side, but on the other side, there's a parking lot, a new one there. My concern was more about the potential impact to Pete's Tap, and that they didn't think it would negatively impact them. I mean, this is pretty nice that there isn't a ton of houses here, like on Middle Road, where we unsuccessfully tried the alternate day parking. So this would work, but I'm more worried about also the business, so, impact.
So what I'm hearing from you guys is that if we speak with the residents,
Yeah.
check out what their opinion is, and then bring it forward with whatever their comments were, and probably also talk with Pete staff or ownership with that. That sounds like a good plan for everybody.
Sounds like the majority of council. Yep.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
And then the next item is discussion on proposed improvements to the intersection of Tipton Road and Mulberry Avenue.
So this intersection in particular, give me a second to switch the computer screen.
Yep, that's Tipton Road.
We tend to get complaints, not all the time, but fairly regularly on this intersection of, it's kind of a blind corner. It's an offset intersection. People tend to take it fast because it's Mulberry and Tipton. These are two of our more well-traveled roads. Mulberry is arterial route. Tipton is a major collector route. So these are not local roads. They tend to see a lot more traffic, a lot more everything. People tend to drive slightly faster. Of the complaints we received, one of them was that eastbound Mulberry cuts the corner when turning onto Tipton Road. And they tend to cut through the line of people pulling up, and there's a whole bunch of trees on private property in that northwest corner. So it's difficult for people to see if a car is going to pull in front of them. Another one of them was that cars heading westbound on Mulberry, turning onto Tipton Road, weren't really paying attention to pedestrians crossing the road. And we had a couple instances of people saying they nearly got hit, things of that nature. So what we were bringing forward, just to see how it goes, would be to add an additional stop sign. It's supplemental, there's already a stop sign there, but an additional one out on the center lane with a barrel around it, similar to what we have at University and Colorado. We have that there. That has a raised island. We want to try it without a raised island first. That way we don't spend a bunch of money on something that isn't reversible. The other thing for the crosswalks, similar to what we did on Colorado Street, we used the surface-mounted yield to pedestrian signs for the school crossing. We would like to add one in this for visibility to students, or not students, sorry, on the school subject there, but for the drivers to have just something else that pops out at them to help let them know that this is a pedestrian crossing. There might be people nearby. And hopefully maybe make them take a second look, make sure that there's actually not anyone crossing the street. But again, this is the same as the previous item. We just wanted to check your guys' thoughts prior to bringing it formally forward.
Councilmember Conard.
Thank you, Mayor. And yes, the Colorado, driving through several T intersections like this, Berry and Leroy, Weir Street and Mulberry, Lake Park Boulevard and Isaac. Some of them have a stop sign on each side, but the only one with a median with that raised median is, you know, Colorado and University, and I think if we were to do this, it should be a raised median. I think that also helps, you know, guide traffic and doesn't let them cut it short on one of those, what they say, people cutting it short when they're westbound on that activity, or eastbound on that activity. One of my questions on that too is the crosswalk. I mean, you have that crosswalk setback. So I would, you know, I don't know the recommendation. We either bring that crosswalk forward, you know, right on the edge, and so people would see people crossing better instead of it having set back. But if we don't want to bring it up forward to that, because the road's offset a little bit, I understand, but we could bring them in and angle it back in if need be on the eastbound side. But if that isn't it, do we move that crosswalk back to the entrance of whatever road's coming off of Tipton into that housing addition? Do we move a crosswalk back there so people would have a chance to get going straight and the crosswalk is there?
We do have that option already. I don't know how many people use that extra option of the move back crosswalk.
If we took this
Clearly others are
crosswalk
not.
out, would they use it more?
Yeah. Or would people run across the street with nothing in place? My concern is kids. We're close enough to a school that
Yep.
I think that would be not the correct move. The reason it's not straight across on this one is because it's a wonky intersection. We're coming in at an angle. It's very wide for the curb returns. So if we moved it all the way up, we'd have a really long crossing for kids to get across. If we did something like that, I would want the island there anyway, so that we had a refuge island, if you've seen those, where
Yep.
there's sidewalk between them and
Right.
there's island on each side.
Yep.
We can certainly look into that. The signage option, to see if it was effective, is a pretty low-cost solution, just to see if it works.
Put the barrel out there. I put a couple barrels, make it an island, make it big enough so it's not just one barrel in there. Put a couple barrels out there to, if it was a median, fill it up with barrels to make it the size of a median you'd put in there for the test. I mean, I go through that intersection several times a day and see that activity. And yes, I'm heading out of town and I take Tipton, those cars are going at 35 mile an hour around that corner, and that crosswalk is right there. So if you're not paying attention, the sun's in your eyes and all that other activity, it can be a little dangerous. So whatever we can do to make it better is great, but you know, there's still that high rate of speed of coming off of Mulberry onto Tipton, taking that right-hand turn, and putting that median there is not going to stop that activity. So
No, and that was one of the reasons for having the surface-mounted sign in the center. If you're familiar with those, the ones that stand about this high, is that hopefully someone's taking that corner, heading westbound on Mulberry, turning north on Tipton, and that it'd catch their attention more
Yep.
and get them to slow down.
Councilmember Lewis?
I just have a question regarding, I just think of, like, on Fulham, occasionally we get a truck down there. How sharp of a turn is it gonna be to go from Mulberry onto Tipton for a truck, if we have that stop sign or that barrier there?
If someone was heading east on Mulberry and wanted to turn north on Tipton,
Yes,
I can look at that.
Okay.
I have the ability to run that. I
I
haven't.
just would hate for it to be there and then all of a sudden the truck's like hung up on the, not that it's about the truck, but it's like, I just wanna make sure that we're aware that sometimes that could happen.
That's the nice thing about the orange barrels, putting them around it. It gives something that has some give to it. And if we damage a barrel, it's a barrel.
Right.
Just from eyeballing it, I would think a truck can make that turn. It's a pretty wide intersection, but I can definitely check that.
Okay, yep.
Councilmember Gordon, do you have something?
No.
You
no,
did not?
Thank you.
I think it's a great idea.
Kevin, I just had a question. I mean, I like the idea that you have. Is there enough flat space right there to do like a mini roundabout? Probably a silly question, but
I would have to look. You're talking a mini one that's not meant for trucks, or where trucks would have to drive over the center island?
no, I want, yeah, probably just a mini one where they'd have to drive around.
We could look.
And maybe it's a horrible idea, but there's big enough space right there where I was like, oh.
It's not a horrible idea. what we're looking for here was something that was low cost
Yep.
and easy for us to put
Sure.
in a quick amount of time.
Understood.
If we do want to put a roundabout at this intersection at some point, we can look into that, but that's a much more long and drawn-out
Understood. Yep.
process.
Okay.
Mayor?
Yep.
Don?
We, Councilmember Gendrich and then, Councilmember Lampy, you'll be at last.
Kevin, you have any stats on the number of accidents on this corner?
I do not off the top of my head.
Any- Anything that's been unusual or extraordinary or? Okay, and then since we're also talking about other intersections been brought into this, we have left turning traffic on Bidwell and Leroy. And there's no sign to mark who gets to go. So I appreciate your input on that earlier. That was denied. So I want you to, know that I appreciate your input on that. We have left turning traffic, and there's no sign on how to mark that. And how about the signs, above ground signs on the Park Avenue 5-way stop? Is that still in the plan to put any of those up?
Yep,
Yeah,
we
okay.
have the paint marks down. We're waiting on the Iowa DOT to do their part of
Yeah.
it, which is the signage.
And I'll admit, the first probably 2 or 3 times I went through the intersection, I stayed in the right lane, even though that arrow was marked in the center lane to go straight. I did it just out of, the good old days, so I broke the law there a couple times. And now I use that middle lane on Park Avenue, working great.
Good to hear.
Okay.
Oh, Councilmember Lampy.
Yeah, my question for Kevin is, with the placement of that stop sign, I know that when a car stops, a lot of times it'll actually block the pedestrian crosswalk. So a lot of times the pedestrians are trying to cross Tipton Road. So because there are cars stopped on Tipton Road at that stop sign, is there any way, similar to what Matt was suggesting, is there any way to, reposition either the sidewalk or the stop signs or something so that, again, as I'm trying to cross Tipton Road as a pedestrian, I'm not having to walk around the stop car at that stop sign?
Yeah, we can look at what the stacking distance there is between our supplementary stop bar and the crosswalk. That's where we're talking at. This is one of those intersections where we have 2 stop bars, one way back and then a supplementary because sight distance is bad. We'll look at that, see if we need to move the stop bar or if we need to do something with the crosswalk. It's a lot easier for us to move the stop bar if that's possible. A lot more cost effective as well. So we'll take a look at that, make sure that vehicles can fit and that the crosswalk isn't getting backed into, but it sounds like that's a known issue.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I'll just make a statement, Mayor.
Yep.
In reference to the accidents, we didn't pull those and you did not pull them either.
Correct.
But here in council and hearing the complaints that came in, I would much rather be proactive on these near misses and avoid a collision with a child walking across this crosswalk than wait for a stat to happen if we're having enough people that are seeing this happen.
Agreed.
And that was the feedback from staff when we discussed it, was that basically everyone had some sort of interaction at that intersection where it was close or they knew from driving it that people tended to cut it a lot from just watching. So taking your guys' feedback, this is something we could bring forward, potentially with a raised island if we look into that, and potentially with moving the crosswalk depending on how that works out.
Is there any objections, council?
No, and I like the barrel idea first to give it a shot.
I agree.
Okay,
Great. Great job.
thank you guys.
Councilmember Gendrich, is there anything you'd like to share tonight?
Well, I don't think I should say anything. Yeah.
Sounds good. Councilmember Brockert.
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Councilmember Connor.
Another nightmare, thank you.
Councilmember Lewis.
Only thing I have to say is, go Hawks.
Councilmember Gordon, is there anything you'd like to say?
Well, we know who the winner's going to be, and I'm sorry, Angie. But I just want people to remember, I mean, we're getting into fall. There are so many great activities going on in town. The weather's been glorious. Please go out and look at the event calendars, anything you can see, and take advantage of this great weather, so.
Councilmember Osborne?
Next week, we have 3 boats staying overnight, 2 on one night, and I'll let you speak about the third one. But I do have a couple other things outside of events, as usual. I've talked to folks at the Carver House. There's a long list of things we need to talk about. So I'll send that to you in an email and set something up, Jody, and I'd just like to know the status of some things. Windows is one of them, so you won't be surprised by that. But I went to go follow up on window, or our meeting with them and see how things are going, and ended up with a list 10 times longer. So, and we've talked about Carver House before too. I think there's some data to share with folks on the concerns at Carver House around the age of the building and.
You're talking about Clark House?
Clark House, sorry.
Okay.
Clark House, sorry. I wonder why you all looking at me like kind of like I'm from Mars. Everybody's like, what?
Like, we have enough.
Clark House. Anyway, and I do that a lot with Clark and Carver for some reason. The other thing I've got is I think it's time to start looking at about a year ago or so, we had a survey done by an intern, really good survey on sidewalks, where were some of our, worst condition sidewalks, and we had a good discussion about incentivizing getting those fixed, and so I'm looking for a bit of an update on that as how this conversation started in my head. I also happen to get a few residents, as usual, periodically come up with, hey, I'd like to see sidewalks improved. It came up when I was looking at grass on Sycamore, and it also came up in the West Hill area, which was one of our poorer area, our higher ranking areas for sidewalk condition problems. And I was looking on the internet and trying to see what's out there. I ran across an article published January of this year that talked about the Iowa Supreme Court has now made cities liable for not taking action on their sidewalks, regardless if we got it in our code or not, that we say it's a homeowner's liability. We can be held liable. Let me read some of the excerpts that I copied. Cities in Iowa can be held accountable for defective sidewalks, particularly following a 2024 Iowa Supreme Court ruling that reversed previous decisions, shifting liability for sidewalk conditions like tripping hazards or uneven surfaces back to the cities unless specific ordinance hold property owners responsible. We're not done yet, though. We can be held accountable if they fail to notify property owners to fix the defect and if we fail to take action on a known issue. So if they don't take an action and we don't continue to keep following up, which we don't, sometimes what we do is we wait for a complaint and then we issue a citation, and my understanding is it doesn't go much farther than that as far as compelling the owner to do something. I would like my action request, see if folks agree, would be that we at least consult legal, understand what I've said here about what the Supreme Court ruling is and how liable I think we're more liable than we think. Even if we do issue a citation, I think we need to take it farther than that. I also think we need to dust off that list because now we've got a documented known list of defects that we have. Have we done anything with them or any of those? Probably not all of them, probably not many of them at all. And so we needed to do something. That's my starting conversation. I think it starts though with consulting legal and seeing where we're at with that. And then coming back with something.
If I could give a quick update, I will.
Sure.
At the last ICAP board meeting, this was a major topic of discussion. There are numerous cities right now that are working with our legislatures to turn this around due to the simple fact of the time and effort it would take to get to that standard. The standard right now that is set by this case law is 1/4 of an inch. So if your concrete sidewalk is unlevel by 1/4 of an inch, that deems it to be repaired. We think it's I will share from an ICAP insurance perspective, we believe the 1/4 of an inch is a little bit too much. There will be legislation proposed at the next session addressing this without a doubt. From an industry standard, the financial impact, if that's really enforced, would be a huge burden on the property owner. So I think they're trying to work through immediate, or I guess an alternative fix or an alternative request. Everything you said really is correct. I mean, it would be, once identified, the city would have to take action to ensure the next step on that is if they don't fix it in a reasonable time, the city would have to come in and do that process and assess it. That undertaking for any city would be relatively huge. So there's a lot of discussion being had about that, and what that really does to the property owners and what that could really impact them is a huge concern for us and everybody. So I respect the request, and we can look at that. There are so many different requests and changes, I think, that are going to be coming at the legislature to correct this action and get it more reasonable. I think will be a big topic in the next session.
Okay. I will still continue to push, though. I think at the end of the day, I mean, I've had 2 personal instances in this town since moving here. One, I had not a customer of our store, but slide or trip and fall on a broken sidewalk that has since been repaired. You know, we had the whole Second Street CD sidewalk project, and that was fixed. However, when you see somebody come into your store with a bloodied face and blood running down their shirt and needing medical attention, that'll change on how safe you think our sidewalks are. Also, I had an individual at our personal residence up on the West Hill area take us to a court over it. We won, but that still doesn't mean they didn't get hurt and didn't go home the way they came today, and that was a visitor. They didn't leave Muscatine with a very good impression. So I still continue to push, even though I'd like to really follow up with some of those ideas that we talked about coming out of that survey that we did. You know, cost sharing, assessments, which is pretty much an interest-free loan. Folks I've talked to would welcome stuff like that.
Is there any objections to Councilmember Osborne's thought process? I know you mentioned that you're going to be looking into a couple things, but any objection, Council? All right, very good. Yep.
Thank you.
Councilmember Lampy.
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
All right. Cinda.
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Chief.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
City Administrator.
A couple things. We will definitely have an in-depth in October. So plan on the in-depth in October, and we will get you more of an updated, if you will, schedule on how we will go from staff leadership meetings to everything coming out to you in the council packet. So we'll work on that and get you guys at least some kind of a calendar on how that will work in an update here in the near future.
Councilmember Osborne, you had another thing?
Yeah, I forgot to mention, one of Muscatine's newest residents spent all night last night making brownies. They're over there for folks to enjoy. I see there's cupcakes as well.
Yay.
And just welcome to enjoy.
That was important. I like brownies too. And yes, Councilmember Osborne, you're right. There's another event coming up on September 11th. So it is called United We Remember 250 Years of Service, 9/11 Muscatine Tribute. On September 11th, it starts at 5 p.m. and kind of the agenda for that is there's going to be a welcome, really brief welcome speech, national anthem, and our Mighty Muskie marching band's going to be doing the national anthem, which is exciting. We have enlistments from the Navy and Army that will be there. Our fire chief will be doing a speech regarding 9/11, which is great. And then we have a command sergeant major that will be there to also do a speech. Then we're going to be doing a wreath laying, and Hy-Vee is doing a wonderful wreath. It's just called a wreath laying and salute. Wreath laying and salute, so that'll be pretty nice. They're donating that. We're very happy about that. And then at the back of the LST 325, which is the big ship, they're going to fire the cannons off. But it's just going to be air. It's not going to be actual.
No ammunition.
My youngest was like, "Dad, really? Come on." And then after that, we have a concert, which is going to be right next to this ship. So we have Zero Dark 30, which is Jimmy Hoover's band is going to be there. He works for the Sheriff's Department, so he's going to be playing. And then if you have kids, definitely invite the kids because there's going to be a bunch of lights that are going to be flashing during the whole concert. So you have ambulance, fire truck, we have the M-Sort, so thank you, and then a police vehicle as well. So pretty exciting, and then that'll end at 8 o'clock. We're going to have food trucks there as well. So the food trucks all have, it's pretty cool. So Sunny Dogs is a veteran-owned hot dog vendor that's going to be down there. So they're coming into Muscatine. Missions Barbecue, and then Bayside Bistro, which is the wife of a gentleman that works at the Arsenal. So you have all connection to service people, which is going to be pretty fun. So yeah, pretty exciting. And I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.